Catherine, we're here at the Colorado Department of Agriculture. This is welcome to the Colorado Food Magazine, Season 2, Episode 2. As telling the audience, we're here with Catherine Boxler. She is with the Colorado Department of Agriculture. We're going to talk all things Colorado food and agriculture today. As I've told you before offline when we're trying to arrange this, the Colorado Food Magazine, our goal is to talk about the entire ecosystem within the food system, from the farmer to the government's Colorado Department of Agriculture. Mm-hmm. We want to talk about the Colorado Proud program. Yeah. And then, of course, we always want to give a great shout out to Greg Bloom. He's the one that introduced us.
Yes, he's awesome.
Yes, he is. And so
thank him for connecting us.
Yes, and he sells Colorado Proud beans.
Yes.
So let's talk about yourself, how you got started, where you're from, where you grew up, just kind of those things. I'm also, and I forgot to ask you or tell you, I do it on purpose, because it's not ambush journalism, but I wanted to ask you what your 3 favorite restaurants are towards the end of the interview.
Okay. I sort of thought that was gonna happen. I prepared a little bit for that question.
Okay, but that's like picking your favorite kid. You just don't know. I mean, it's like, but we don't. All are great. It's just, what are we in the mood for today? Mm-hmm. So, okay, let's talk about yourself. Yeah. So, how long you been here at the Colorado Department of Agriculture? Mm-hmm. Where did you grow up? You talked about Massachusetts, and we'll have it thrown a little wicked there, or however you say that. So let's start about yourself. Give us a little history about your family, yourself.
Yeah. Well, first, thank you so much for having me on the podcast. But I'm from Massachusetts originally, an hour south of Boston, small town, right by the ocean. Grew up there my whole life. My whole family was from there. We own a small insurance business out there. And then, I don't know, I just kind of needed to get out for a little bit, explore. So decided to come out to see you. I always...
what made you pick that school?
Yeah, I don't know. Everyone from my town and my state sort of stayed local, did the same thing, and I was just ready to explore a little bit. I was always interested in the mountains, and skiing has always been a huge part of my growing up. So I wanted to continue skiing. Saw the campus and fell in love with it. So
did you? With the flat irons?
Yeah, how can you not? So I decided to come out here for college, and then just never left. So
Oh, excellent. So you said you did a lot of skiing out there. How does the skiing compare? We're going to do a little compare and contrast.
Well, definitely a lot different than growing up on the East Coast. Always grew up skiing in Vermont. Mountains are a lot smaller there, not as much snow. So I get pretty spoiled skiing out here, but I love it.
You also said, talking that you also did a lot of sports, and you just finished the Colfax Marathon, half marathon yesterday.
Not full yet. Maybe I'll work up to that in a few years, but it was my 4th half marathon in the past year. So I really love running. Got into running a couple years ago, and Colfax was awesome.
Did you belong to any running clubs, or is it just yourself?
I run with the Boulder Running Company a lot, and I used to run in high school, and then I rode crew in college. And then I didn't run there, but started running after, and it's sort of more on my own. I run with my dad a lot. My family's big runners, so I sort of took inspiration from them, and
Oh, great. So tell us about the Colorado Department of Agriculture. Once again, our goal, we interview chefs, we interview restaurateurs, we interview policy people, we interview just the different people in the ecosystem of the food and how complex it is. Yeah. And we're just trying to tie end to end, everything from the farmer when he's planting all the way to the consumer at the end. So, and obviously the Colorado Department of Agriculture is a huge part of that.
Right.
It's part of your goal is to, give me the goals. What's the vision and the goals behind the Colorado Department of Agriculture?
Well, we're always trying to promote Colorado ag industry as a whole in general, to open up new business and marketing opportunities for our ag producers, for food companies, beverage companies, anyone who grows, produces, makes anything in Colorado, just trying to help advance their markets, bring jobs back to Colorado, support the community. get more young people involved in farming, keep people in the farming industry. We're always working towards like finding new sustainable ways to improve the industry. And those are a few of our goals, but looking to connect mainly because I'm the business development specialist here at CDA. So I produce a lot of like educational resources for companies, helping them with navigate any business development concerns, help them with marketing, advertising. We're a resource that
nobody knows about.
Yeah, people. It's shocking how few people know that they can reach out to the Department of Ag or any of the government agencies, and we can answer any questions that they have, and
all the way from like helping start a business.
Starting a business, navigating licensing regulations, things like that, making connections between the producer to the end consumer, getting into different retailers, the connections we have with restaurants and distributors. Because, I mean, we've been working in the industry since forever, so we have those partnerships already established and that network that we can tap into. So if there's any questions, then we're more than happy to direct them to the right places.
Your goal is to educate people
right.
about what the agricultural systems that go in Colorado from a government agency perspective.
Yeah.
That there's lots of help out there. There's lots of tools that nobody knows about. And that's part of our goal here at the Colorado Food Magazine is to find people like you in the government like, oh, this is what you guys do. We had no idea. And like I said earlier, Greg Bloom from Barber's Foods, he's the one that introduced us. And we talked on the phone a few times. I always mention food. So it always, I'm on the brain here. So exactly. And our goal here at the Colorado Food Magazine, as I mentioned earlier, is to tie all the different parts of this food ecosystem together. So what you've been here since July, you said.
Yes.
And your goal is business development.
Yes.
So what is the day in the life of Kat look like?
Yeah. So I started, I started at Ag in 2019 as like intern international markets, but now I'm doing more of the domestic side. So started in July. I work mainly with the Colorado Proud program, which is one of our main resources to help agriculture, food businesses. We work with restaurants, producers, ranchers, farmers all across the state. We have, if you go to the grocery store and you see in like King Soopers that Colorado Proud logo, it just helps consumers identify things that are grown and produced here. So that's the main goal. We do a lot of marketing work. So I do a lot of, reaching out to different organizations, partnering on events, sponsoring different companies we work with. I reach out to a lot of companies to see what they might need help with. Either that's like finding a new co-packer because they need to improve their manufacturing, or I've worked with companies, different restaurants who are looking to source more local ingredients, and I'll put them in. I had one restaurant like last week was looking for local tomatoes, and I know someone who grows tomatoes in the state, and
so you're
put
just
them in
a great
contact
network
with each other.
connector.
Yeah.
So that's great. And this is, we recently kind of did a small partnership with the Colorado Fruits and Vegetables Growers Association with Marilyn Drake there. What surprised you when you, from Massachusetts, come to Colorado, that has grown here?
Yeah, that's a good question. I
know peaches are big.
Peaches, yes. I also didn't know Rocky Ford melons, or I didn't know melons were growing here at all.
I know there's so much grown in Colorado that I didn't know about.
Industry. Yeah.
And that's when Marilyn sent me all that. I'm like, oh, I didn't know all these products.
Right.
And I'm a Colorado native. And I didn't know all these things. And that's really cool thing, like the Colorado Dry Bean Committee, all these different aspects. I'm like, oh, there's a significant portion of crops grown here in Colorado.
Because I'll talk to my friends from home about that. I worked for the Colorado Department of Ag, and they're like, oh, what grows in Colorado? I'm like, pretty much everything, actually. We're probably one of the largest agricultural producing states. So
oh, I didn't know that.
One of the top. like cattle, beef. Yeah.
Right, I know.
Yeah.
We talked to the Colorado Beef Council and stuff like that. Like I said, we're trying to tie in the entire ecosystem,
Right.
the Colorado departments, the different agriculture, so we can educate people.
Yeah.
Our goal is to educate and elevate. You know, as our vision for the Hispanic Restaurant Association is to educate and elevate the Hispanic community across a multi-generational spectrum. The Latin or Hispanic community is tied into so many in the restaurants,
Right.
so many to the agriculture, getting to the consumer. And our goal, once again, is to tie everything together.
Right.
And that's why I was so happy to be here and talk to you. I'm like, we're in the restaurant business, but we did not think about too much about not the political side, but the government side.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, here's this huge network that you have
Right.
that we can tap into for the restaurateur, for the farmer, for the consumer. Like, oh, you want everything Colorado? Because farm to table is a big thing.
Yeah.
You know,
exactly.
and Colorado Proud. So what's the, talk to us about the Colorado Proud magazine stuff.
Yeah, so the Colorado Proud program, it's a free marketing program that we established in around the 90s. Anyone who makes, grows, produces anything in Colorado can sign up on our coloradoproud.com website and use our Colorado Proud logo, and that just helps consumers identify products that are grown in Colorado. So we're always promoting that logo on social media and news outlets, getting the consumer awareness out there about what is grown
Does
here.
Does it cost them to join?
No, it's totally free. You get the artwork for free. If you want to print the logo on your packaging, then you just have to pay for the making your own packaging, whatever cost that is. But yeah, to join the program is totally free. And then you get our monthly newsletter with we have a lot of information in there about what's going on in the ag industry and different opportunities. And we have some business development information and help in there as well, some tips. And we do business features in there. And then we have our Colorado Proud directory on our coloradoproud.com site, and each company that signs up has a profile on there, and we use that. We give that website to consumers and retailers, buyers, restaurants, and you can go through and find everything that's made in Colorado. If you're looking for this product or that product, you can go to that site and find it.
If a farmer, rancher, grower, anybody in the food in Colorado, if it's grown, no matter what it is, they can be on this website. Is there any type of certification process?
We have, so when you go to sign up, there's a button on the top that's become a member. You just fill out your profile there, and then it goes through our system and you get approved. And the logo use guidelines are on our site too. You can see that there. But basically, as long as you're manufacturing or growing here, then
it's pretty easy.
Then it's pretty easy to sign up.
That's a great resource. So it's at coloradoproud.com.
Yes.
Where you would do that. So, very nice.
Yeah,
so we didn't know about that.
Yeah, and we have cool recipes on there featuring local things that are grown in Colorado.
I want to know who makes those recipes. Because remember, I'm biased here. We have the Hispanic Chefs Association.
Exactly.
And we also have the Colorado Chefs Association. That's ours now. We're standing it up, and then we've appointed the leadership for that. So how do you get your recipes?
Yeah, honestly, I'm not entirely sure. I can't speak to exactly who. We have a few different chefs that we worked with there. I think Chef Jason Morse is one.
I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
Yes. And then we do a lot of cooking videos through there as well. We have Chef Jess and Jason does them, and
Oh, wow. Well, we have some connections. I'll talk to management for you.
After we'll do some business negotiation.
I know. I was just trying to be funny here. And that's a bad dad joke. I'm often funny. My son tells me I'm not.
I try to be.
Exactly. Well, that's great. So that's great to know. Because once again, our goal is to educate, like our partnerships with the MS Metropolitan State, University of Denver, Community College of Denver. All those, our goal is always to educate. And that's part of our platform and tie everything Colorado together.
Right.
Let's talk about sustainability. You mentioned that's one of your big priorities.
Yeah.
What are the top 3 priorities for the Department of Agriculture over the next year, or is there a 5-year plan?
Well, we don't have we always go by our WIG goals, or wildly important goals, and we sort of change them around every year depending on what the priorities are for the industry. Right now, it's promoting economic resilience and opening business opportunities, working towards sustainability. So we have a few programs in like the soil health division and conservation division that are doing a lot of really cool work right now, where the STAR program is a really interesting one.
What's that?
It's a soil health initiative that it's sort of in its infancy, right? It's just beginning. It rewards agricultural producers for implementing good soil health practices and improving their soil health practices. So just making sure that we can continue to farm into the coming generations.
Right.
And
this is one of the things over the years you always hear about nowadays, is just like how the soils are depleted.
Right.
So your goal is to make sure that it's nutrition and the products.
Yeah. And so each agricultural producers, they get like a field assessment and are awarded a certain number of stars for how sustainable their soil health practices are. And then that's something.
Is that done in-house, or do you know, or is it done with the university?
I think it is. They do have some partnerships with Colorado State Extension, and then I'm not. I don't want to speak exactly on what that program entails, because I don't know the full background of it, but yeah.
Right, because I just recently, I think it's in June, like Chelsea from the Colorado Dry Bean Outreach Committee.
Mm-hmm.
She's a PhD student out at Didinger. I couldn't remember her last name. That's part of it. We talked. She mentioned soil health at one of hers at the Bean Summit. So I'm always interested in that. I mean, it's far more complex.
Yeah, and it's definitely going to be one of our biggest things. It's cool. It's really, really cool to see the things that they're doing and the connections. We're getting involved with very large companies in Colorado, doing like it opens new market channels for different producers here also, because that is like another marketable thing, saying everything I grow is very, I don't know, it's like another
niche.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's all right. No, it's the cool thing about what I'm learning with you is the complexity of the food picture.
Yeah.
That's much more
goes much deeper than I ever thought.
I know we're always learning.
Yeah.
When we talk about you're always learning, we're always trying to teach each other, learn about different products. You're in the business development. That's how we came in touch. So this is educating people about what's going on. Is the Colorado agricultural website different from the Colorado Proud website? So what all these programs we've talked about, our goal is to direct people to the right resources.
Right.
Where would they go?
Yes. So our coloradoproud.com site is just for our the Colorado Proud program, but the actual Department of Ag site, that's where you can go to find information on different like licensing regulations that through the state and other like directories we have like a service guide that connects, gives lists of different resources for businesses to reach out to for marketing or things like that. And there's all of the information on our programs that we're doing at Ag. The grant resources we offer is all on there as well. So it's definitely
and we can put it in the links if we can't remember right after we talk about that. Whether we post it on Instagram. So what's the best part about working here? I never thought that I would end up in ag. I don't have that ag background. Like I grew up in a very agriculture heavy town. Like that was one of the main things. There's just farms everywhere, but I never was really that involved in it. But then I started working at ag and I just sort of fell in love with it. I think it's so interesting. I take a lot of inspiration from the people that I work with just because I know how important the work is. And I've just loved learning the whole industry and the fact that the things that everybody here is doing is really, really cool, advancing the industry. And my family owned a really small business. So I saw growing up like what the struggles of owning a small business and like all the work that goes in behind it. And It's 100 times harder than you think.
Yeah. And being able to actually work with those businesses here in the state and see projects through from the start to the end, and being able to actually feel like you're helping and giving back is, I don't know, it inspires me a lot. So.
Is there any, you talk about inspiration, you draw that from helping people from your family, so family roots and the farm and things like that. That I always find in food, everything's tied to food, no matter who you are, your best memories in life.
Everyone's always going to need to eat.
Exactly. All of us, all 7 billion of us.
Yeah.
What is the hardest part about working here? Just.
I think for me, because I am young, I'm just starting out, so I think it's kind of intimidating. There's just so much, the industry is just so large, and finding the right connections, and I don't know, I'm learning every single day. So
that's good. I'm a lot older than you, and I'm still learning every day.
Yeah.
It never stops. So please keep that in mind.
Yes.
It never stops. So you're talking about inspiration. What's inspired you in life?
Well, I think growing up, I always took inspiration from my family. My family works really hard, and I mean, you talked about a lot about leadership styles. I've learned, I don't know, my family was always like, they never pushed us to, not like didn't push us to get involved in stuff, but they like sort of let me and my brother find our paths on our own, and
they just provided the guardrails.
Yeah, and it was. They would encourage us once we found that, but they weren't like, you need to get involved in this, you need to get involved in that. It was sort of like we needed to find that motivation ourselves and find what we truly were passionate about. And I find that here at Ag too is like I've loved the opportunity of working here. The people I work with, they've let me get in, whether I sink or swim, they throw me into the fire and get me involved in like anything and let me learn from it. And like even, hosting the podcast for Department of Ag, being on this podcast, like running a trade show, things like that, just that I just never thought I was capable of doing. And just having like
that's
the
great.
freedom
You have that type
to
of
do
support.
It. Yeah, no. So it's awesome. They've given me a lot of support, and yeah.
That's great. So you talk about leadership. What would you consider a good leader? And that's a generational thing too, I'm asking.
Yeah.
So, and I recognize that because it's important, because there's so many generations. Just in our organization, there's 3 different generations.
Right.
And I have to listen to the 19 or 20 or 21 year because they look at the world differently than I do.
Right.
Well, we're still trying to achieve the same goal.
Yeah.
So I have to take that input because they're the future. Young people like you are the future.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, I don't know, I'm definitely still trying to develop my leadership style. I haven't fully determined what I think is a great leader yet. And I think that's always changing.
Right.
And that changes for every person that you're leading. But I think for me, what really works, and I think is how I like to lead and how I feel like I've grown the most from that type of leadership is like what I was saying about my dad and the people here, like not necessarily giving me the answers or like guiding me in the direct way, that I just sort of letting me figure it out on my own. And
that's
that
just being
gives
smart.
you, yeah.
Because you're growing at the same time and learning.
And it just gives you more confidence. It just helps give me that confidence to
do it.
Yeah.
Do you have any good books you would recommend to somebody your age?
Ooh, that's a tough
You're only 24,
one.
but what would, if you were 18-year-old again, what would you tell yourself? Or a 16-year-old.
think I would tell myself just not to be scared, and just it's all a learning experience, and every opportunity is a chance to grow and learn something. And I was always afraid when I was a kid to like get involved in things because I didn't want to mess up. But I've grown so much from like kind of letting that go and being like, okay, well, I might mess up sometimes, but it's not permanent, and it's the only way I'm going to get better. And I think I would tell myself to just take advantage of like every opportunity that I got.
Well, there's a lot of wisdom in that.
Yeah.
That's really good. So not be afraid and jump into the world in the great unknown.
Yeah.
That's called life.
Yeah.
Exactly. So do you have any favorite books that you would
back
recommend?
To the books. Favorite books.
What you've learned. It could be from high school or something that influenced you.
I'm trying to think of what books I read recently.
Well, that's mulling over. I want to talk to you as you come back because I know the Rolodex is ticking on which one.
I am a big reader, so
I know you
like
said that. That's why I
lot.
mentioned. And so let's talk about your podcast, Cultivation Station.
Yes.
What's your goal there?
Well, because I do a lot of work in like making the webinars, the podcast series, and I think it's a good resource to help guide Colorado companies through like business development, anything that they are struggling with, developing a business here in Colorado. And I think, we're just trying to teach companies how to navigate something that is just another resource to look at. Yeah, education.
Educate. Like I said, our goal is to educate and elevate.
Right.
Just tell people about what's out there because there's so much, and no one organization can do it.
Yeah.
I mean, we really have to be this big team, different parts, different components, different government parts of the government that help that.
Right.
So we're gonna now talk about the easy stuff. I know, but what are your favorite places to eat?
Ooh.
And that's a tough one. That's like picking your favorite kid.
You said that was an easy one. That's not an easy one.
I know. But somebody you go to is going to be like, oh, you didn't talk about me. And like picking your favorite kid. Like,
yeah.
And I recognize that it depends on the day, what kind of mood you're in, what you're craving, all those.
Well, speaking as myself and not for the department, I guess we can't pick a favorite one of our businesses. But I just moved to Denver, so I'm exploring the food scene there. I ate where did I eat this past weekend? That was probably one of my favorite restaurants, Los Chingones in Rhino in Denver. That was probably like my favorite restaurant I've been to so far. I like...
What is your favorite type of food?
Definitely Mexican. And I always do Mexican or sushi every time I go out to eat.
Oh, really?
Because I can't make that at home. I can do Italian kind of at home. Not as well, but those are definitely my go-tos. Cart Driver Pizza is one of my favorites.
Where are they located?
I think they have 2 locations in Denver, but one in Lohi I've been to. And my third favorite, Uchi Sushi, I like a lot.
Oh, really? That's a really good.
Very good.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, they're so good.
That's that they always make the perennial favorites for sushi places.
Yeah.
And I can see why. They're just fantastic.
Yeah. You have to give me the suggestions on where the new places I should eat.
Now you're going to get me in trouble. Because I can't recommend them. They're like, what, you didn't mention me? You didn't mention me.
Yeah. Point of contention there.
Exactly. So no, there's so many good places. That's part of our goal once again at the Colorado Food Magazine. Just tell people, find out these places that nobody knows about.
Right.
There's so many good chefs out there,
Yeah.
so many good restaurants, so many good operators. And that's, we're going to start talking about those. I was talking to our social media guy, Mario, yesterday or a few days ago. We were thinking about, or we're still thinking about, coming out with our favorite top 10 places. But then we're gonna like.
No, you'll start a lot of fights that way.
Start a food fight.
Yeah.
I know, but that's just a consideration.
Yeah.
But it can be changed. It's like anything.
You can do like, the best for this or that, and like whatever you're looking for. You don't have to pick exactly 10.
I know. Well, it could be burritos. It could be breakfast.
Yeah.
It could be the taco.
Make
it could
everyone
be
happy.
I know. That's next to impossible.
Yeah.
In a perfect world, what would you change about if you had all the power in the world as a 24-year-old? What would you change to help the Colorado consumer?
Well, I definitely want to focus more on promoting Colorado ag to Colorado consumers. I think there is a lot of people don't really know much about what we're doing here and what we have going on, and I just want to reach as many people as possible.
And that's our goal. Educate people about
so,
the resources available to them. They're not alone.
Right. And just getting the consumer excited about buying local Colorado products. Because, I mean,
I know there's so much. Exactly. I mean, here, so many of it's in to be, the farm to table, great to crate. Plate. I'm sorry, I said that. Great to plate. All those things, all things Colorado, and that's our goal to tie from the planting to the consumer. What makes the Colorado? We want to start promoting the Colorado Proud side of things. So that way, if you're in Colorado, we're the Colorado Food Magazine. We got the cool name, so why not?
And I mean, obviously, there are a lot of products you can't necessarily get just in Colorado, but for all that you can, it's great if every business and every food organization and partnership here could all form together and promote it as much as possible.
Right, exactly. Yeah, that's exactly what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
So what do you have for us? Obviously we're the Hispanic Restaurant Association. We produce the Colorado Food Magazine, and our goal is just not to serve the Hispanic community. It's anything food related. Colorado Food Magazine. If we could do things differently, what would you want from us?
Well, I would definitely like to develop more of a partnership with you guys. I think that'd be awesome.
We're in.
Be cool to,
I'll talk to management.
Let's
Hold
do
on.
It. Yeah. No, it would be cool to do some events together. I think sponsorship of having more Colorado Proud products at different, because I know you guys do a lot of chef competitions and stuff like that. If we can have
let's after this
products.
Let's talk after this, right after, so we said talk business earlier. Let's find every product in Colorado,
right, and get them all
in one
there.
spot, and show the chefs and the restaurateurs and the business people.
And I would love to connect with your network of the different Hispanic food producers in the state.
Yeah, we're doing that. Yeah. Consider it done.
Perfect.
But that's we'll talk right after this. Exactly. Well, that's our goal. Like I said, our goal is to help with the Hispanic restaurateur, but it's so much larger.
Yeah.
We're all interconnected. Exactly. Breaking bread together breaks down all barriers. Mm-hmm. I know you were doing your homework, listening to all the podcasts. What is he going to ask me? But I understand that. I mean, I'm only teasing. This is I have a young daughter, so now she was like, "Shut up, Dad."
Tell my dad that all the time.
Exactly. Is our goal, and just I have a heavy military background. Mm-hmm. My friends, we have a couple guys that served on the Tier 1 units. Look up Tier 1 if everybody doesn't know what that means. And the coolest things, he was talking about being in Afghanistan or Iraq, and how, maybe an hour or two or before they were, I'm going to use the term enemies. They were fighting each other. Yeah. But they broke down and talked to each other over bread, and it just changed the whole culture. Yeah. And that's when we all go out to eat. What do we do when we want to make new friends? What's the first thing we do? Let's come over for a barbecue. Yeah. And that's the beautiful thing about food. Yeah. All 7 billion of us have to have it. It breaks down the culture, the mindset, and lowers the barrier so we can talk to each other. Right. And that's what I love about what we do. It's awesome. At the Colorado Food Magazine. Yeah. And back to things I love about working here and seeing the work that's done here is, you don't even the food. You see the actual work that goes into making that food and the family that is owning that ranch or that's growing that product. And it is much more personal than just food on a plate. From the start to the end, there's so much in between that's... Yeah. I'll have to have some of your organization, out to one of our Latin supper clubs. Yeah. Because we talk about the chef gives the story, and he's I'm going to think of Chef Pablo from Nomad Taqueria up at Origin Hotel Red Rocks. Mm-hmm. He loves telling the story. So when he's at our Latin supper clubs, he talks about where he got his potatoes, and he uses Colorado stuff. He's find me the Colorado food
Yeah.
products, and I'll buy it because I want to tell the story. I want people to know where their food came from, and the chefs tell that story.
Yeah.
And it's pretty cool. I mean, you'll like it. I have to get you and some of your organization out there to a Latin Supper Club.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I mean, what else would you have for us? What if I want to talk about? We talk about the websites. We can send that.
Yeah.
We'll put those on the links. People
do
that. We'll develop a further partnership. Is there anything else you would want to tell the audience, or a consumer, a farmer, a restaurateur, that what they could do?
Yeah, I mean, always reach out to me or anyone at AG. We're always happy to help. And if we can't answer your questions, then we'll send you to the right department who can. Or if you want to expand your business, then come to us and we can help connect you with different restaurants, producers, anything like that. But definitely check out our websites. As you said, we always have our programs listed there, our grant resources that we have becoming available, because there's always something new that we're doing. So I just encourage you to constantly check there and reach out to us. And
how would they email you? What's your email?
Oh, yes. It is Catherine.Boxler, CATHERINE.Boxler, BOXLER, at state.co.us.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll slow that one down.
List that one there as well. It might be easier to link it, but yeah.
Okay, great. But we love, I mean, after we did our due diligence and our research, there's a lot of programs that the Department of Colorado Department of Agriculture offers that we didn't know about.
Right.
And we can tell our chefs, we can tell our new business people, we can tell the restaurateurs, we can tell the farmers, like, oh, you want to be connected to this restaurant group. Because they'd like to feature Colorado proud programs. So you already got me talking. I'm convinced now.
Yeah.
But that's our goal to Colorado Food Magazine, is to talk about the entire ecosystem and tie it all together so people can understand that what's available to the Colorado consumer.
Exactly. And it's a very interesting time to get involved with us, because we just got some stimulus funding that we're rolling out a ton of new and exciting programs. So we've got a lot in the midst. So it'll
Can you name a couple?
Continue. Well, we've done a couple grant opportunities. Colorado Proud did a marketing and technical assistance grant that closed earlier. So we haven't seen a lot of companies haven't finished their full project yet, but we were able to award, I am not sure the exact total number of dollars, but I think it was about $10,000 per grant that we gave to companies throughout the state to help them with their marketing or processing or updating their packaging, getting e-commerce websites. So that's exciting. I think it helped a lot of.
Now, do you have people within your department that do that work, or do you pay so they can partner with somebody?
No, we're giving the actual grant fund, to develop like the packaging and stuff like that. We can connect you with another company to.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're a network, the resource.
Right. We have a resource guide on our website too, where you can find different, like if you're looking for a co-packer or new packaging or a marketing service.
You're just a great network, a resource availability that has this, ability not only to point you in the right directions, but if the time is right or the business is right and you meet all the criteria, can help fund them. Especially with that sounds good. So I'll make sure we'll put that on our stuff too, as far as how they can start that process. Well, thank you for coming on.
Yeah, thank you so much. This has been really cool and another learning opportunity for me. So I'm really excited to be here.
Thank you. But we appreciate everything you're doing.
Yeah.
Like I said, we'll develop these partnerships. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, and, looking forward to having you as a guest on my podcast and flip the switch a little bit.
You're like, okay, how can I stump him? It's like,
payback.
Exactly. Dad, I need your help here. So, well, thank you so much. Appreciate everything.
You.
Okay. Take care.
Cool. You too.